Hi, Suresh. Hello.
Hey, hi Rajesh. Thanks for joining. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks. How are you?
Am I audible now?
Yes, yes, you're audible. Yes.
So, at this moment, I would like to thank you for your time. So, to continue with your second level of interview for the junior DBA position. So, just quickly brief about yourself in a short form.
Myself, Rajesh, I'm having 2.5 years of experience. So that is my total
Hmm.
employment experience. So I've been
Okay.
working as a junior database administrator, taking care of all L1 activities like taking backups, restores, taking care of
Mm-hmm.
tickets, assigning, P1, P2 tickets to the L2 and L3 teams, doing some health checks on the servers, doing
Mm-hmm.
patching on every 3 months or 6 months,
Mm-hmm.
taking care of log file full issues, disk space issues, all
Mm-hmm.
mainly focusing on log shipping,
Mm-hmm.
audits. So
Mm-hmm.
all L1 activities will be taken care of.
Good to know, Rajesh. Good to know. So mainly we are looking for a position who is most expertise in the most concept, hierarchy concepts in log shipping. You know, we have various varieties of hierarchy concepts, right? So
Yes.
what are the major hierarchy concepts you aware and can you elaborate it?
Um, Actually, the high availability concepts are like we have log skipping, database mirroring,
Mm.
replication, always on, and clustering. Coming to my current organization, we have
Mm-hmm.
log shipping and database mirroring.
Okay. Okay. So how basically the log shipping will work basically?
Um, The log skipping will work based on the job actually. The primary
Mm-hmm.
side, we create a backup job, and secondary side, we
Okay.
create a copy job and a restore job. So
Mm-hmm.
based on the frequency we have been set, for
Mm-hmm.
example, it is a 5 minutes. For every 5 minutes, the log backup will happen on the primary side, and these
Okay.
backups will be copied to the copy folder, which is in a secondary file, sorry, secondary server,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
those copied backup will be restored on the secondary server. So in these way, the data synchronization is happened from primary server to secondary server.
Okay. Okay. Good. So where are those backup jobs resides basically? So how it was segregated to primary server and secondary server?
Um,
Ex-
there are four jobs will create. One is
Mhm.
backup job that will create on a primary side, and copy job
Mhm.
will create on secondary server, and the restore job is also configured on secondary side. There is a alert
Mhm.
job which is completely optional. We, that
Mhm.
alert job will reside in primary and secondary as well. Whenever there is a latency or wherever there is a failure of these jobs, the alert job will
Mhm.
give you an alerts.
So basically, how many SQL instances needed to set up this log shipping?
We need at least two servers to need to
Mhm.
configure log shipping. One is primary server and second one is a secondary server.
Mhm. So do you hear about the witness server? What is it? Is the usage of witness server?
Yes, with this server, we can find it in database mirroring. Whenever we
Mhm.
need any automatic failover to be configured, then we need a
Mhm.
witness server. So witness server will continuously monitor the primary server and secondary server, and it continuously receiving heartbeats from the primary and secondary server. So whenever it is not able to receive these heartbeats, then we will
Mhm.
consider the server is down and it will do an automatic failover to secondary server.
So can we achieve the same automatic switching with log shipping?
As per my my knowledge, it's not possible. I haven't do it before. I think it's only work
Okay,
for mirroring, I guess.
good to know that. That's right. So, what are the modes available in log shipping setup?
We have two operational modes in lock shipping. One is lock shipping with no recovery, so that the database is in restoring mode and no one can access it. And lock shipping in
Okay. Okay.
standby, that is used for the reporting purpose.
What will happen in standby mode?
Standby mode, the secondary database is in a standby read-only mode, so that users can able to connect to the secondary database and they can read the data, but they cannot
Mm-hmm.
modify the database actually.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. So in no recovery mode, whereas in no recovery mode.
No recovery mode, the secondary database is in restoring mode and no one can access the database. Even they cannot read the database as well.
Mm. So what state the DB will be in?
Uh, Standby.
No, no. In no recovery mode, the database
Restoring.
state.
Restoring.
Okay. So what happened? Users will accessible or not accessible in
No,
restoring mode?
users cannot, even they cannot connect to the secondary server since it is in a restoring mode. They cannot able to
All
modify
right.
it.
All right. Cool. So in which mode the tough file will create basically?
Whenever we configure the lock stripping in standby mode, there is a tough file we create.
Okay. Cool. What is tough file basically? What is basically used for?
Tough file is a transaction undo file which will create a secondary side when we configure the lock stripping in standby mode. So whenever
Mm-hmm.
we run any transactions on the primary side, there is an uncommitted transactions. So these uncommitted transactions will not go to the secondary server. In the middle of it, these uncommitted transactions are stored in tough file. So whenever these
Okay.
transactions are committed on the primary side, then only these uh, uncommitted transactions will commit and pass on through the secondary server, so that users don't read these uncommitted transactions. I mean the dirty reads. So to prevent the dirty
Mhm.
reads, the tough file will be useful.
That's right. Cool. Okay. And moving on to the next phase of the questionnaire is so I would like to elaborate a scenario. One of the colleague has deleted the top file by an mistakenly. So what is the impact of it?
If the tough file is deleted means then the lock stripping will broken. We
Mhm.
can the synchronization will not happen if the tough file is deleted.
Okay. How will you fix it?
Um, I think we have to reconfigure the lock shipping. That is only the option we have.
So existing jobs can be removed or we can overwrite and use it the same jobs.
No, no, I think we have to take a no, no. We have to reconfigure the lock shipping. I think if the tough file is deleted, then we cannot reuse any
Mhm.
of these jobs and all. Like as per my knowledge, we have to
That's
reconfigure.
right. That's right. Okay. Can we recover any by any way, by any chance we can we recover the tough file?
No, there is no possibility to recover the deleted tough file.
Okay, cool. Okay, Rajesh, have you heard about any times like what is WRK file, .wrk file?
Yes, it is a work file. Uh, it will be created during the copying process. So whenever these backup files are copied to the copy folder, in the
Mm-hmm.
meantime, the work file will be created. It prevents the
Mm-hmm.
partial restores or restore failures. So whenever these files copied to the copy folder, the restore
Okay.
job will pick the partial copied files. So
Mm-hmm.
that will cause us to the restore failures. So what happens is during the copying process, the
Mm-hmm.
extension of log backup files will be changed to WRK. So right
Mm-hmm.
after completing this copying process, the extension will
Mm-hmm.
change back to TR
Mm-hmm.
from WRK.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Sounds good. Okay.
Thank you.
And moving on to the next aspect of the scenario, as you said, we have a backup job, copy job, and we have respective folders has been created, and those folders have read write permissions or full control permission, whatever it is. Can you know or elaborate what is the major reason behind it?
See, the backup job will happen on the primary side, and the copy process will happen on the secondary side. So whenever the failover is happened, the primary becomes
Okay.
secondary and secondary becomes primary. In that case, it has to access the folders which are in other server.
Oh, okay.
If you want to access the folders in the same server, we don't need any permissions and full control. If you want to
Mhm.
access the folders which is in another server, the folder should
Mhm.
be shared. Coming to the full control
Um,
permission, we need read write permissions on the folders, because if the back if you want to copy the files in the folder, we need a read permission, I mean
Mhm.
write permission. If we want to pull
Mm,
the files from the folder, we need a read permission. So that's why we are giving read
mm,
write permissions, and the folder should be
mm.
shared actually.
That's cool. Okay. Okay. I can see one of the restore job is failing continuously on the secondary server, which is being part of log shipping. What might be the possible reasons you have came across?
Maybe the lock stripping is configured for standby mode, and users are accessing the same database during the restoration process. And that may be the reason for the restore job failure. Hello?
1 minute, Rajesh. Just
Okay,
a
okay.
minute. Yeah. Sorry for the trouble. I have visual issues. So, on continue with the next part of the set of questionnaires. So, uh, where can I see the log shipping synchronization status basically?
If you want to see the backups are happening or not, then we can see the server reports, standard reports, and there is a transactional log skipping status. You can see the
Mhm.
backup process, like if the backups are happening or not. If you want to see the copying is happening or not, and the restore is happening good or not, we have to connect to the secondary server, and there we can see a log shipping status. Here we can see what is the last log backup which was restored, and what was the last log backup which is copied. All these details we can see in the reports.
Mhm. Okay. So, have you ever done the failover, failback in recent times
Yes, we
of
have.
log shipping?
Yes, we
So,
have
what
done.
is the basic procedure? What are the precautions you take care while doing the log shipping failover?
In log shipping, we have only a manual failover. So first we have
Mhm.
to stop the synchronization by stopping the jobs.
Mhm.
But before
Mhm.
stopping the jobs, I mean disabling the jobs, we have to rerun these jobs. We have to rerun manually. The
Mm.
backup job we have to rerun and we have to disable it. And the secondary we have to manually run this copy and restore jobs, and we have to disable it. After that, we have to take
Mhm.
a log backup. I mean, the tail log backup with no recovery on the primary side, so that the database
Mhm.
will go into the restoring mode. The same tail
Okay.
log backup which was we have taken, that tail log backup we have to restore it on secondary side with recovery, so that the database will bring online. After that, we
Okay.
have to configure the log shipping on the secondary side, so that the data will
Mhm.
synchronize from secondary side to primary side, which is a
Mhm.
this is in a reverse process will happen.
Okay. Okay. So can we configure like primary server in one version or secondary server in another version? Let's assume I have a primary server which has 2019, but the secondary server we have a SQL 2012. So can we able to achieve configuring log shipping?
Uh, yeah, we can configure the log stripping with different versions, but as you said, if it is the 2019 is a primary one and 2012 is a secondary one, in this case, the log stripping is not possible because the log shipping requires
Mhm.
like the secondary server should be same as the primary server, or else the secondary
Mhm.
server should be a later version. I mean, a newer version has to be there. If it is a primary, the 2016, and secondary should be 2016, or like it is 17 or 19, it's fine. But if it is lower than the primary server version, then it's not possible.
You mean higher to lower is possible, lower to higher is not possible.
Yes. Higher to
Okay.
lower is not possible. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Uh, can we configure the log shipping only to the user databases, or can we also configure the log shipping for the system database as well, like MSDB?
No, no. We can only configure for user database itself. Any of the system databases cannot be involved in the log keeping.
Okay. Is there any way can we configure multiple secondary servers in log shipping?
Yes, we can configure multiple secondaries in log shipping.
Is there any limit for that?
Mhm. I think it is a three. We can configure three secondaries.
Okay, that's right. So how to configure the multiple secondaries before that?
Um, Actually, I haven't configured before. I didn't get a chance, but I have read in this Microsoft article that there is a
Mm.
possibility that we can create up to three secondaries actually.
Okay, so to wrap up the questionnaire, so what are the basic limitations and disadvantages of log shipping?
In lock shipping, we don't have a automatic failover, and to do the manual failover also, like we need more time based on the size of the database. We need approximately 15 minutes of downtime required,
Hmm.
and the synchronization is happened through the job, so that we have to wait for 15 minutes to sync the data on the secondary side, and we need a mandatory SQL Server agent to happen the
Mm,
synchronization between the servers. Um,
that's right.
we need these folders to be shared and folders to have a full control. All these things, like I can find it as a disadvantages we have.
So what is the difference between hot standby and warm standby?
If it is a hard standby, the database is a fully operational, and
Mm,
we can see that the data is up to date, and it is ready to make a automatic failover, and we can also do a manual failover with a minimal downtime, and users can able
mm,
to read the data if it is
mm,
a configured as a read only. Coming to the warm
mm,
standby, the database is not fully synchronized and operational, and we have to
mm,
take some additional steps to bring the database online after the disaster, and the secondary database
mm,
is offline or restoring a state, and a
mhm.
manual failover is an option to bring the database accessible, and automatic failover
Okay.
is not possible in a warm standby, and
Mhm.
the warm standby servers don't support read-only operations.
That's cool. Okay. So what happens if I take a manual log backup on the existing log shipping configured primary database? What will happen?
Like in the middle of the log shipping process, if you take a manual backup, the log shipping will work on the like series of log backups. It follows a log sequence. If you go and take a manual backup during that process, the log sequence will broke and synchronization will stop actually.
So what is the alternate? What is the suggested option if I really needed a backup?
You can run the job like whatever the backup job we have on the primary side. We can run the backup job and we can take the backup, or else we can take a copy only log backup.
That's right. Cool.
Yeah.
Correct. I was expecting that. That's right. Okay. Can I configure the log shipping on Express editions?
No, it's not possible because the Express edition doesn't have the SQL Server agent.
Uh,
So that it need a jobs, right? The jobs should run to synchronize the data. So it's not possible. Maybe we can do it in a manual process with the help of Windows Task Scheduler. I'm not sure. Maybe you
hmm,
can do it with the help of Task Scheduler.
okay. Let's assume a scenario like we have a weekly SQL, we have patching window at the weekend. So while doing the patching activity during the weekend, do I want to the log shipping to be failed whenever the failover, whenever the server is restarted? Or can I pass the log shipping for the synchronization? If yes, how? How to do it and what is the best approach to apply the SQL patches while doing on during the weekends?
Um, since the log shipping will happen through the jobs, we can disable the jobs temporarily, like the backup job on the primary side and copy and restore jobs. We can disable the jobs in the meantime. So after the patching applied, we can rerun the jobs and we can enable those jobs so that the log shipping will continue to work.
Mm-hmm. Mm. So as I said earlier, Express editions there's not support. So if it is support, so what are the supportable editions for the log shipping?
We can configure the log shipping in Enterprise Edition and Standard Edition
Mm-hmm.
and also in a Developer Edition.
So I want to configure a log shipping for two servers, but one of the server having Windows OS and the other one is having Linux OS platforms. Okay, is it possible to configure log shipping with cross OS platforms?
As it is, but whatever the Linux OS, that should be in a 2017 or later versions because the Linux support is
Mhm.
we have after the only 2017 servers only. Yes, we can configure the log shipping for the cross platforms, but
Mm.
we have to make sure that the version is compatible with the log shipping or not. We have to make sure that.
Okay, cool. So can I, for example, I am going to set up a log shipping, okay? So the primary database name is A. Does it mandatory or can we change the database name to restore at the secondary
Uh, I
DB
think
name?
for the log shipping, the database name should be the same. I
Mm-hmm.
think for mirroring, I think we can have a different database name. I'm not sure, just confused with that.
That's
Maybe
right. It should be in same. It should be same.
mm,
Always in log shipping, it should be DB name. We need to ensure to be same. Okay, what happens if I add a secondary data file to the logship existing logshipping configured primary database? I have a primary database, so I just, due to some space issues, I just now added a new data file to the existing primary database. So what will happen to the logshipping basically?
mm, the log shipping synchronization will fail whenever we add secondary data file to the primary side. The
How
synchronization
will
will
you
fail.
resolve? Yeah.
We have to do a manual sync by taking manual log backup on the primary side, and we have to restore it manually on the secondary side so that the newly added data file will reflect on the secondary side.
Before doing that, do you disable the jobs or you just like that you just take the log backup and restore?
Mm, No, you're right. You have to disable the job so that it doesn't affect on the LSN, log sequence. Yeah, I just missed that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. No worries. Uh, I have completed, covered most of the questionnaires. We basically looking someone who is excellent or extraordinary skills, who has with majorly in log shipping. We are looking and imagine and to wrap up with the last question. So imagine you have received a request to create a logins and grant access on the log shipping database. So how will you do it?
If you want to create a login on this log slipping database, first we have to create a login on the primary side and we have to grant the access. And if you want to reflect the same on the secondary side, see, if you want to create any login on the any high availability servers, we have to
Mm.
create on the both. Like if it is two servers is there, primary, secondary, we have to create on the primary side and it has to reflect on the secondary side as well. So after
Okay,
creating
but
and
okay,
yes,
but it will create the login automatically, or if, for example, I have a login XX, that XX will be automatically reflected to the secondary, or will you manually create it in log super?
if we grant the access at the database level, it will reflect automatically. But if you want to create a login at the server level, we have to create on the
Hmm.
primary side and we have to script out that login and we have to execute on the secondary side.
So how will you script out? Or do we script out right click just like right click script out?
We have a system store procedure that is sp underscore help underscore web login that will give you
That's
the
right.
entire script of the login with the security ID and the password, the encrypted
That's right.
password, and all. So we can
Mm-hmm.
we can restore it the same login by executing the script on the
Mm-hmm.
secondary side.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. I'm done with my questionnaires and sounds good. And definitely our HR will get back to you. And we have one last round that hopefully you will hear some positive feedback. Okay, Rajesh?
Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Suresh. Bye.
Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.